6 months ago, less, Dianne Feinstein got up and gave a speech on the Senate floor, which Patrick Leahy said was probably the most important speech he had ever heard in his time in the Senate. We were on the brink of a major constitutional crisis because Dianne Feinstein had charged the CIA with spying on Senate staffers who were drawing together the Senate's report, the Senate Intelligence Committee's report on whether or not the CIA tortured. Now, that report, we saw some leaks from it, or not some leaks, but we basically saw a shadow of what's in that report. We saw some talking points that the State Department prepared upon the release of this report, which basically make it very clear the CIA engaged in torture. So we now know that the CIA has been lying to the Senate Intelligence Committee. That's why, in fact, the CIA was spying on the Senate Intelligence Committee, because they had gotten hold of an internal CIA report that basically said, hey, we tortured people. And the day after Dianne Feinstein made this charge, John Brennan, head of the CIA, said that's just not something we would do. We would never do something like that. And now the CIA Inspector General has come out and said, turns out, we did. And this is after the Department of Justice, the Department of Justice rejected the call for an investigation. And the other part of this CIA report has also stated that the counterfiling by the CIA that let me find this, that where the CIA had claimed that they had, in fact, also that the Senate Intelligence Committee had stolen documents from the CIA, was also rejected by the CIA's IG. So in other words, they filed a fake claim, which they knew had no basis. And so, what the F? I mean, honestly, we've got the director of intelligence, national intelligence, lying to the Senate Intelligence Committee. We have the CIA director lying to the Senate Intelligence Committee. Udall has called for the resignation of John Brennan. I mean, this is just so effing naked at this point. Like, there's no.
I don't think there can be any case at this point for the guy staying on. I mean, it just seems every time you turn over another rock, your worst suspicions end up being true. It's not a conspiracy. It's not when you think the people, of course, have those accusations, you think, oh, maybe I'm letting my mind run on me. No. And we've seen this in the past. I mean, if you study history, the Church Committee, what was done. That's why we tried to rein in some of these practices. And then every sort of generation, we loosen up again, and certainly post 9/11, and look where we end up. And now you've got it's sort of like the cover-up compounding the actual scandal itself. Now we've got these guys who are spying on members of the Senate, and we're still going to get this torture report. And and what's been leaked so far, of course, is terrible.
Let me say, and I don't want to get Matt in trouble here, but if Matt, and he certainly doesn't have these skills, or if he is, he's hiding them. But if Matt had hacked into the Senate Intelligence Committee's computers and taken documents that they were working on, Matt would no longer be working here. At one point, we'd have had a dramatic thing that I hope we would have caught on videotape, where FBI agents would have knocked on the door, and they would have put him in cuffs. They probably would have come here with a battering ram and a SWAT team, and this guy, he would be in jail, and we wouldn't hear another peep out of Matt. And I guess, I don't know if he has any type of, one of those Google things that if you're not working your email for a long time, it sends like you can send out the passwords to, your Tumblr feed, and we would have had public shaming would have been a property of the Majority Report at this point. The idea that the CIA does this and all they got to do.
I'll send in the tip today.
all they got to do is go and apologize and then appoint Evan Bayh, the freaking chair of an internal review committee. We don't need an internal review. We've had an internal review. It's the CIA IG report. Now it's time for the Justice Department to get involved in this. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, but you're
what
forgetting
can they
something.
not get away with?
Evan Bayh is not exactly gifted with personality, and he needs something to talk about during his Fox News appearances, which he makes many of because he's a contributor there. So, be sensitive to the fact that he needs to do something.
It's stunning. I mean, we wouldn't do that. I mean, that's just beyond the scope of reason in terms of what we do. When the facts come out on this, I think a lot of people who are claiming there has been tremendous sort of spying and monitoring and hacking will be proved wrong. So either John Brennan is a liar, or actually both things can be true. He's either a liar in this specific case. I think he's a liar in general. Or the guy's so the CIA is so out of control that they will spy on the Senate. Just I don't know who's authorizing it at some low level. I mean, come on. This is just crazy. The guy should resign tomorrow.
The guy should have resigned. I mean, yeah, he should have resigned yesterday. He should have resigned the minute it came out. I don't understand how you get to stay on in that position at that moment anyhow. But, I mean, again, when we talk about broader discussions, the broader discussion comes up that it was quite clear that he was in a position in the past to have known something about torture, and we still let him run the CIA. And there's a point where when you let all the guys, when you don't look back and you let all the people that screwed Wall Street, you let all the people that screwed our national security policy and torture and black sites, which Brennan said he approved of, by the way, black sites, and some of these things, then it's almost like once you've allowed them to sort of clean themselves up and stay respectable, you've missed your chance. You know what I mean? What a shocker! A guy who approved of abrogating the Constitution. It's like all those people that were let go from Iran-Contra. What a shocker that Elliot Abrams and people like that ended up in the Bush administration after they and they're still writing op-eds criticizing Obama because they were allowed to be rehabilitated. Hell, Ollie North has his own TV show.
And you look at this what the stories that have broken this past week about an American citizen who went to Syria, was trained in suicide bombing, came back here, just I guess
just
back to Florida, and then went back to Syria to blow himself up. We have hundreds of thousands of people on the terror watch list. We have an unprecedented amount of spying on average Americans. Yet this guy falls through the cracks, probably because he was just some white dude. I mean, if you look at the video of this guy, he just looks like a guy who's just, ranting and raving like anybody else you could see on YouTube. It's just, but white guy. Just literally seems like sort of just a dude, and the point is that, and then you got the story of Keith Alexander going out there and basically getting $1 million, maybe $500,000 per consultation with corporations for protection, computer hacking protection that he somehow developed in the past 3 months. That since he's left the NSA, undoubtedly nothing, no technology, nothing that he garnered from there. I mean, you realize that this is as much a racket as anything else, and that they simply spy on people because they can. There seems to be no connection between that and efficacy. We know the story of Thomas Drake, that he got basically his life just destroyed by the U.S. government because he was whistleblowing on another huge boondoggle that Congress ultimately shut down, but was a way for his bosses at the NSA to lard their own pockets. And so, I mean, this is just, it's out of control. And there doesn't seem to be anybody who is within our government, within our legislative bodies, who are standing up and basically just saying, this is enough.
Well, there's nobody out there also framing this argument, the broader argument on the left, and saying, this is what happens when you deregulate. This is human nature. This is the behavior you get in government. This is what happens. This is what happens when you stop watching what the CIA is doing. What happened on Wall Street is what you get when you stop watching what they're doing. The oil spill is what you get when you stop watching what BP is doing. This is Reagan's deregulation for you, everybody, that we've been doing for 40 years. How do you like it? Is it working out well for you? Is it benefiting the country? Is it a good thing? That's what someone with courage would get up and make a large speech, tying all these various strands together, because they're not isolated. They're all related. They're all related. But I won't hold my breath to wait for anybody on the left to do that who's in government.